As you go farther north, basically what's happening is when you suntan, you make less and less vitamin D in your skin. For this reason, we've come up with a cream which is bioidentical to what you get in the skin when you suntan. And therefore, also, just like suntanning, you cannot overdose on vitamin D3 skin cream. As you get older, the oil sticks in your liver and it goes toxic. Whereas if you suntan, for example, if you go to the equator tomorrow and suntan for 1 hour, only 1 hour between 12 and 1, most of you with the lighter skin tones will make approximately 13,000 units of vitamin D in 1 hour. You'll be crispy critters, of course, but in 1 hour you'll have 13,000 units of vitamin D made in your skin. Bonus, free. But the farther north you go, the intensity of light decreases. So when you get into Canada, there was a study in Calgary which has shown that literally 97% of Canadians plus are deficient in vitamin D3. And that slide will be coming up, so watch for it, folks. This is published in the Canadian Medical Association Journal. Right beside it is a piece of garbage, disinformation, to blunt the information that comes from the Canadian Medical Association Journal. This is the kind of games that people are playing. 15 to 30 minutes does not give you enough vitamin D here. Maybe at the equator, but not here in Vancouver, because that study in Calgary is 3,700 feet higher and a lot more sun than we get here in Vancouver. Maybe you haven't noticed, but we get a lot of rain. There is no sun when it rains. Vitamin D3, the cream, will also get rid of the SAD syndrome, no extra charge. Without vitamin D3, you cannot absorb calcium and magnesium. And there's been a deficiency or advanced osteoporosis, more so in Canada than in the southern part of the United States. Vitamin D has been shown to prevent cancer. The mechanism involved is so simple that I suggest to you that it prevents all cancers, not just the ones that have been studied. Prostate cancer was first discovered to be mitigated by vitamin D3. Very recently in the Globe and Mail, there was a publication on breast cancer study. They've also found the farther north you go, there's actually a little graph of the globe and showing the farther north you live, the greater the incidence of breast cancer. And I suggest to you that this also applies not only to breast cancer and prostate cancer, but also colorectal anal cancer, which is studied and published in medical journals, also squamosal cancer, melanoma, Hodgkin's, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, liver cancer. All these cancers have been published in medical journals, but nobody hears about the protective effects of vitamin D and cancer. It's not being published because there's no money in it. Basically, the people that want to keep you sick profit from your illness, so they don't want you to get healthy. There was a fight between the Society of Pediatricians, the Cancer Society of Canada, and the federal government. The federal government didn't want any change whatsoever. They're happy with you getting 400 IUs of vitamin D3, which is a joke. 400 IUs is a joke. You can't convince me that in Alberta, when they had 97% deficiency, that there was a decrease, like only 3% of the people there suntanned. I'm sure more than 3% of the people in Calgary suntanned. Or you can't convince me that out of those 97%, only 3% of the people took a multivitamin. The amount of vitamin D in a multivitamin and calcium supplements is a joke. You have to eat these things by double handfuls to get significant amounts of vitamin D3. What they did, they gave pregnant ladies 10,000 units of vitamin D3. This is what was reported in the Globe and Mail. And this happened for 5 to 6 months because they were concerned that the newborn babies are not getting enough vitamin D from mother's breast milk. And this is extremely important because there are epidemiological studies of those children that are born in the spring have a much higher incidence of schizophrenia, dementia, Alzheimer's, type 1 diabetes, and rheumatoid arthritis. This is published already. This is in the medical literature. Of course, it's not being brought to your attention. because there's no money in it. That's why they were supplementing these ladies for 5 or 6 months with 10,000 units of vitamin D. Ooh! And they were absolutely amazed to find there was no toxicity. No, zero toxicity in these ladies at 10,000 units for 5 to 6 months. So this gives you a rough idea of what's safe. If you go to the equator and suntan all day, you can imagine how much vitamin D is made in your skin when you suntan. There are people down there that suntan 365 days a year. Some of them basically are fishermen, so they get the reflection off the water as well. And nobody is overdosing. There's the breast cancer study right up here. Look, the farther north you go, the greater the incidence of breast cancer. And this applies to all cancers. So get some vitamin D3 cream if you can't suntan. If you can't go to the equator and suntan, get some vitamin D3 cream and rub it all over your body. We make it up 10 times stronger, but you need a doctor's prescription. It's more cost effective that way, but you need a doctor's prescription. The gatekeepers will probably prevent you from getting this. But we have it just in case you find a doctor that will cooperate. Now that's the dose you need to start taking. Get your doctors to test your blood for vitamin D levels. If you don't believe me, what I'm telling you, get your doctors to test you for vitamin D3 levels. The amount that's recommended by the Society of Pediatricians, 2,000 IUs, and the amount that was recommended by the Canadian Cancer Society, 1,000 IUs, is a joke. It's like the old approach of selling. Do you want MasterCard or Visa? Not only are these proposals insufficient, but the government proposal obviously is, because they don't want you to have more than 400 IUs per day. And perhaps there might be vested interests in wanting to keep it that way. In fact, in that article, the government doesn't want to change its level restriction of vitamin D3. They want to do studies. Oh boy, that's going to be another 2 or 3 years before they get the study. And where is that study going to be done? Well, don't we have enough scientists and smart people in Canada? They want to farm it out to the United States. In the United States, there's a lot more sun than there is in Canada. That study should be done in Canada or on the same latitude as Canada. For example, here's a better indication on the slide of the intensity of vitamin D3. This one goes up into Canada. You can see that whole green and blue area. The blue area, absolutely no vitamin D made in your skin if you suntan all day. In fact, Edmonton, Alberta is the lupus and MS capital of Canada, and in fact it's the MS capital of the world, because we don't get enough sun past a certain latitude north. And I'm a trained scientist from UBC. I know how these guys work. I know what they're doing in terms of studies. And I'm warning you all, protect yourself. Get to know these people in Health Canada better. After all, your taxpayers' money and mine are paying their salaries. We should know what they're doing. We should be able to ask them questions. And if you don't know what questions to ask or who to ask, come and talk to me. I've also got a DVD coming out on that to tell you how to do it. Ask them questions. These are the questions that they have to answer, because there is a federal act that says they have to answer these questions that you put to them. And I can tell you what questions to ask and who to ask. Get your doctors to test your blood for vitamin D3. Also get them to test for CRP and ESR, which is erythrocyte sedimentation rate. If they don't know how to interpret these things, bring your results to me, and I'll think out loud for you. I'm not here to interfere between your doctor and yourself, but I can certainly think out loud for you. Bring your results in. I'll have a look at them and give you the benefit of my expertise. So I've already told you about the breast, colon, bowel cancer prevention by vitamin D3. It also just recently has been shown to prevent ovarian cancer. And as you can see from the slide, one of those slides of the United States is ovarian cancer. And the farther north you go, the greater the incidence of the silent killer, ovarian cancer. It also prevents rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, and multiple sclerosis. I'm sure all of you are interested in that.